Day to night, glamour to chic. This one does it all. Cue the music. Hi, welcome back. I'm Gabi, the Fragrantician, and I'm here with another fragrance review. This one is by the house of Nina Ricci, and this is called Ricci. Just like my husband then, because he's called Ricci, but that's another story. Anyway, I love the bottle on this. Beautiful design. It is exquisitely made. This fragrance was launched in 2009. I don't know the perfumers who did the perfume, but I think this perfume may be discontinued now, but you still can get it readily on some websites if you look online. I got mine online anyway. So, what's inside here? So, this is classed as a chypre floral fragrance. So, it has that patchouli base. It also has that floral note in here. But let me just open the bottle. So, take the top off. Just going to spray this just on my hand here. Quite a nice spray to it. Just gently, I can smell that now as I'm gently letting it waft. So, on first impression, this fragrance is pretty strong, but that's because it's got bergamot in there as the top note. But the main predominance that comes through on me from the top note right down to the bottom note is the rhubarb. Rhubarb is quite predominant in this fragrance. Now, it's not a sweet, it has a bit of sweetness, but it has a little bit of sharpness there, a little bit of kick to it, which is what I quite like about this fragrance. So that plays predominantly in the top notes going down into the heart notes. Then in the heart notes, you've got those delicate florals coming through. You've got Indian tuberose in there. You've also got in there the datura flower. Now, the datura flower is a poisonous flower. Everything that surrounds the flower is quite poisonous. Now, that's what's not used in the fragrance. What the perfumers have done is they've taken like a fantasy note from that flower and put it in the fragrance to mimic that datura flower note. And that floral note is quite something. I have another fragrance by Serge Lutens called Datura Noire, and that one is very, very predominant with the tuberose, naturally, because I do love tuberose, and that has the datura note in there, which is really nice. Then throughout the base, as it gently dries down, after about 15-20 minutes, you've got that patchouli coming through. So a classic chypre floral is when a perfume has the patchouli and moss base, but it also has galbanum in there as well. It also has some sort of greenness in there. So I suppose they're taking that greenness from the rhubarb and classifying it as a modern chypre floral, which it gives it that sharpness, that tanginess. This fragrance you could wear in the daytime, you could wear in the evening time. It could take you from day to night. It is soft, but it's strong as well. I know that's a bit of a contradiction in terms, but it has that strongness but softness there with it, which is what I quite like in the fragrance. So it's not linear. It's not a fragrance that is just all one note or all one tone throughout. This isn't like that. This is actually a really, really lovely fragrance, and I don't know why they discontinued it, but the powers be, that's what they did. Obviously, it just didn't work, but for me, it's gorgeous. This is the only Nina Ricci fragrance that I own. I know Nina Ricci obviously has the iconic Doves of Peace fragrance, L'air du Temps, which I think was launched just after World War II in 1946 or 47. thereabouts. And then you have the famous Nina Ricci apple type perfumes, which I've never tried, which are quite sweet as well. But this one is like a departure from those. This one is quite a unique fragrance. I love that rhubarb note in this, which gives it that sharpness, but it's still got that softness quality to it as well, with the florals that gently kind of like linger in the background there. And the patchouli is done very, very beautifully. It's not an earthy patchouli, it's more of a clean patchouli, how it's blended, which is really lovely. The longevity of this fragrance, I would say, on my skin, because I have dry skin, it lasts about 4 to 5 hours on my skin. That's pretty good on my skin. It might last a bit longer on somebody else's skin. And the projection is, for the first couple of hours, I would say it's at arm's length, and then after 2 hours it kind of sits closer to the skin, but it still creates this kind of like halo of a bubble around the skin, which is quite nice. So I still get wafts of it just throughout the day, because as you know, I'm an oversprayer and I like to spray my fragrance where I can smell it, so obviously my nose becomes accustomed to it, but I still get the gentle wafts of it. So about 5 or 6, not 5 or 6 hours later, about 3 or 4 hours later, I can still smell the fragrance, which is quite nice. Yeah, so I would say that this fragrance is good if you do want to try it, if you do want a fragrance that is a little bit different to other fragrances out there. So why not give this a go? It's a little bit bold, it's a little bit daring, but it's still quite feminine, it's still quite pretty and chic, and it's adorable, and I love it. You've been watching The Fragrantician. I hope you smell nice today, tomorrow, and always. Bye.